Hey guys, welcome back to the design portal for another sketching video. In this video, I'll be showing you how to sketch a garden spade, which will include this 3D sketch, as well as a side view and a front view. I'll be using this fine point Sharpie, this regular Sharpie, and of course, this sketchbook. Also, be sure to stick around to the end of this video to watch me color in the sketch with some of my alcohol brush tip markers. Alright, let's jump into the video. The first thing we're going to do in our garden spade sketch is draw a side view of the garden spade. I usually do this with all my sketches. It's so that I can get a general sense of what I'm looking at and what I'm going to sketch. For example, if we're going to draw a side view of this fine point Sharpie, what we'd do is just look at it from the side and see what we can observe in 2D perspective. For this fine point Sharpie, what we do is probably draw a long and broad rectangle and add some 2D features like curves. Okay, so for this specific garden spade sketch, what I'm going to start off by doing is drawing the front portion of the garden spade, which is the metal part. And here, all I'm going to do is start off by drawing a curved line. And then usually these garden spades have like this triangle shape for the metal part. And then what I'm going to do is add the portion that connects the handle and the spade together. I'm just going to connect that off. And now I'm going to draw the actual handle. And like I said, since this is a side view of the garden spade, it's going to be in 2D, so I'm not going to draw any cylinders. All I'm going to draw is a curved long rectangle that is generally pretty broad. And then I'm going to tone it down at the end so that it becomes slim. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is draw a front view of the garden spade. And I've brought my headphone case here to get a bigger comparison to what I'm actually talking about. And if we looked at this headphone case here and drew a front view, all we draw is this square that has curved corners, just the front curved square. So like the side view that we drew earlier, I'm gonna start off by sketching the metal portion of the garden spade. And once again, it's slightly curved. And then I'm gonna curve it even more. And since it does look like a triangle, I'm gonna add that detail too. And it is a little harder, so it might not look exactly the same, but once again, it is a rough sketch, so it's not always gonna look the most appealing, but it is so that we get a general sense of what we're drawing. So you might be thinking why the front view of the sketch is a little hollow at this section, and that's because even though I did say that it's supposed to be a 2D sketch, when you actually take a reference, like a picture or an actual garden spade, and look at it from the front, it does come down. It has this angle from this connector, and it is curving downwards, and it has that hollow section. So if that is what you have to draw, then you have to draw that hollow section or any other feature that you see. Alright, now we're going to head on to the main 3D perspective sketch of the garden spade. And what I'm going to do to start off is draw a regular line. Okay. And then next, what we're going to do is draw an ellipse or a circle at the front for the handle. And then we're going to add the 3D components, which is the main handle, and we're going to add this curve at the top, and then a curve on the bottom. And then this is why I drew the front view of the sketch, that I toned down the end, and I'm going to tone it down in the 3D perspective of the sketch. So towards the end, it's going to become more slim. Now I drew that line in the middle because when I go in at the end and color this, I'm going to color this a different color because it's just the tip and it's just for aesthetic purposes. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Next, what we're going to do is go into the connector portion of the garden spade. And for this, it's not really a defined shape, it's one of those irregular shapes. So you have to look at your reference or your actual garden spade and then make a judgment of how you're going to draw it. So for me, what I'm going to do is start off by drawing this curve. And then I'm going to come down. Afterwards, since this portion has a circle at the bottom, I'm going to make a curve, and then I'm going to make another line, and then connect it all back to the main hand. Okay, so now we're going to head on to the main metal part of the garden spade. And what I'm going to do is draw another line, but this one is going to be through this connector portion. It's going to be sort of at an angle because, like I said, with this front view of the sketch is this front metal portion is at an angle, so I'm going to do that with the 3D sketch as well. And then afterwards, I'm going to draw another line, and that's so that I can get a idea of what the curve will look like. And then from here, I'm going to draw the back side of the metal portion. And it is going to go slightly through the connector portion. And then, to make this a 3D sketch, I'm going to add a line here and then slowly taper it down and then finish it up. So the next thing I'm going to do is add some touch-ups to the main 3D sketch of the garden spade. So the first touch-up that I'm going to make is actually the metal portion of the sketch. And this is because I felt like the metal portion is too far out from the connector. It's actually supposed to be slightly underneath the connector. And for that, I am going to extend these back ends to a point that it looks in place. Okay, so I think now it looks better, and I'm going to just connect this. The next touch-up that I'm going to make is the first ellipse that we drew, and I feel like this ellipse that we drew originally is flat on this left side. So what I'm going to do is go to the top end and make it broader so that it looks proportional to the entire sketch. So even though the next touch-up that I'm going to make isn't necessarily a touch-up, I'm going to give more definition to some of the lines in the 3D sketch. And the first thing I'm going to do is use this regular Sharpie because it has a wider and broader tip. So the first thing that I'm going to do is thicken these lines at the top. And this bottom one is going to have more shadow. And then I'm going to add some more definition to this back end of the garden spade. So the next thing that I'm going to add to this sketch is some color. And to do so, I'll be adding some color with some of my alcohol brush tip markers. Today I'll be using these Ohuhu alcohol brush tip markers, and there are about 50 in this pack. Before I begin coloring the sketch, I just want to let you know that I will be coloring in time lapse, so if you want to slow the video down or pause it, feel free to do so. I'm just gonna go ahead and add some quick labels. Nothing too fancy, just concise and simple. Alright guys, so we're done finishing the coloring part of the sketch. We started off by drawing this side view, then we went on to this front view, and lastly we topped it off with this 3D sketch of the garden spade. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me sketching a garden spade. If you did, remember to like and subscribe, and the most important thing you can do is share this video and this channel with others who may enjoy art and design, or who may be interested in art or design. Thank you.